Hello, my name is Lillian Okibe. Welcome to my channel. Every day, more and more people are ditching relaxers and really embracing their natural hair. The natural hair community has become so huge. Like, it is so exciting how many people now wear their hair natural. We cannot talk about the natural hair community without mentioning the rules in the natural hair community. Now, I do not know who made those rules, but I can tell you that the rules are so many that if you're not careful, they can actually become overwhelming. So I totally understand why certain people are now going back to relaxing their hair after being natural for some time. Through trial and error, I've come to see that a lot and I mean a lot of the rules in the natural hair community are actually unnecessary. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing some of them with you. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then please keep on watching. First off, let me quickly give a disclaimer. I'm not in any way bashing you if you do it. I'm not in any way bashing you if you do it. If you're doing it and it's working for you, you're happy, you have no problem with it, please do you, continue doing you. I'm not in any way bashing you for what you're doing, but I'm just like, for someone who is doing all these so many things and you're stressed out, you're tired, like your whole hair care seems so overwhelming for you, this video is just to show you that there are some things that you're doing that you can remove from your list and your hair will still be good, it will look good, it will feel good, it will grow long, it will be healthy. At the end of the day, everyone's hair is different, you know. If you found what works for you and it works for you, fine, go ahead and do you. Like, I'm not in any way bashing you for what you're doing. First thing we're going to be talking about today is porosity. Now, at this point, everyone seems to admit that the most important factor to knowing like how to care for your hair, what products to use, techniques to use and things like that is your porosity, you know. And generally, there are three ways to check for your porosity. You can either do the water test, so you take a strand of hair, put in a clear glass of plain water in room temperature and just watch how fast that strand of hair sinks to the bottom of that cup. The next thing, another way you can use to test for your porosity is to like just take a strand of hair and feel the strand of hair to see how rough it is. The third way you can use to check for your porosity is just basically go into the shower and wet your hair, and then just to see how fast your hair absorbs water. Now, so many people keep telling me that I have low porosity hair, but I really do not have low porosity hair, and I'm going to tell you why all these tests, all these ways of checking for your porosity are not reliable. First off, let's analyze the water test. So the way to check for your porosity using the water test is that you take a strand of hair and drop it on or in a glass of water. The first ridiculous thing about this test is that if your hair is kinky, if you don't have straight hair, when you take a glass and you drop your strand of hair in the glass, most likely the strand of hair is going to be sitting on top of the water, and because your hair is not straight, it's coily, not every part of that strand will be in contact with the water. Some parts of the strand will be coiled in such a way that they're not going to be touching, like some parts of the strand will not be touching the water. So if some parts will not be touching the water, then most likely the water, since a good portion of that particular strand is not in contact with water, so it's not going to be drinking as much water as it possibly can. So most likely your hair is going to keep sitting on top of that glass of water. Even if you leave it, go after 30 minutes, come back and check it, it will still be, because a good portion of that strand is not in contact with the water. So that idea of putting your strand on top of the water and just waiting for it to see how fast it will sink is really not logical, because it will never sink. And that's why if you check, like if you pay attention closely, like if you just think about all like of your favorite natural hair influencers, most of them have low porosity hair. Why? Because if you do the water test, your hair is not going to sink, because most part of your hair is not in contact with the water. So that's just plain logic. So you are going to be having the low, even if you take high porosity hair and dip it in water, it's going to act like low porosity hair, because a good portion of the hair strand is not in contact with water. So that water test is trash. That's that. Now let's move to the other test. Let's use the one of the feeling, with like taking a strand of hair and just feel through to see how rough the texture is. First off, so many people confuse the texture of like your kinks and your coils to the texture of whether the surface of the hair is rough or smooth. Personally, I feel like that is more reasonable. Like if you're trying to test for your porosity, that is more reasonable. But how smooth is smooth enough for it to be low, and how rough is rough enough for it to be high porosity? Like many people say that if it's totally smooth, it's low porosity. Okay, and they also say that if it is somewhere in between very rough and very smooth, it is medium porosity. Like how smooth is smooth enough for it to be low, and how rough is rough enough for it? Like when it comes to something like feeling something and smelling something, those are really subjective. They are not scientific per se, so you cannot really rely on those things to just create a general broad classification to say that, oh, this is low. Because if, like, there should be like a measurement to see that, okay, if you can find 5 bumps, then that is medium porosity. If you can find 10 bumps, that's like something like that. That would make more sense. But you're just saying, let's just feel it. If it is somehow rough, it is high porosity. If it is somehow smooth, it is low. Like, it just does not make sense. So now we've analyzed that. Now let's move to the third way of checking for your porosity, and that is going into the sink to wet your hair and just to see how fast your hair absorbs water. First off, let me quickly say that many people do this test when their hair has some form of product in it. Now let me give you this analysis. For an average person, the average wash day routine for someone with natural hair, especially for most people with kinky hair, his first step is pre-poo with most likely an oil. Pre-poo with an oil, and then you wash with a moisturizing shampoo. What is a moisturizing shampoo? A moisturizing shampoo is basically a regular shampoo that has a lot of oils in it, such that when you're done rinsing out the shampoo, you have some of the oils in the shampoo or your hair in such a way so that it's not going to be 100% stripping. So basically, a moisturizing shampoo is a regular shampoo that has more oils in it. So you pre-poo with an oil. Oil is deposited on your hair, and then you wash your hair with a moisturizing shampoo. More oil is deposited on your hair. Okay, maybe it's going to take out some of the oils from your pre-poo, but you're washing with a moisturizing shampoo, so you're not getting rid of all the oils in your hair. So you still have some oils in your hair, and then you move to deep conditioning. What's a deep conditioner? A deep conditioner is most likely a conditioner that has some more extra oils and butter in it. So you're deep conditioning with oils, more oils deposited on your hair, and then you rinse out the deep conditioner. Maybe you go out to style. If you analyze this wash day routine, you see that at no point in a regular and average person's wash day routine, at no point will you find that person's hair without oils. Like, that is, if you really think about it, you see that there's no point in that wash day routine where your hair is going to be totally stripped with absolutely no oils in it. Now let me tell you how oils are. Oils are generally sealants. Wait, let me show you this illustration using my hands. So let me use my hand for example. So this is my hand. My hand is like dry. Last time I moisturized my hand was probably a few hours ago. So most likely all the oil I have on my hand right now is just probably the oil that my skin naturally produces generally. So now I'm going to take, this is plain water, I'm going to spray some water on my hand. Look at what my hand looks like after spraying water. Let's can see what my hand looks like. If I just go ahead and just walk the water into my hand, you can see that because I have no oils on my hand is like absorbing the moisture from the water. So now let me go ahead and apply some oil. I'm going to apply some olive oil. So I want to use something like a light oil. I don't want to use like shea butter or anything. So I'll apply some olive oil on my hand. Let me just get just a little bit of oil and apply on that hand. So now I am done applying oil. You guys can see I've applied some oil on my hand. So now let me go ahead and spray some water on the hand that has some oil on it. This my spray bottle is really whack. You guys can see the obstruction. You can see how the water is beading up on my hand. You can see the beads of water on my hand. My hand is not absorbing the water as much as it was absorbing the water before. So that's the same principle that plays out when you wet your hair when you have oils in. So because like most times your wash day, you always have some oils on your hair because of the routine that you follow. If you do that porosity test of just going to the shower at any point in your wash day to wet your hair, your result is not going to be accurate. Why? Because your hair is not fully stripped, so your hair is not completely naked. It has some external product on it. Of course, it's most likely they are going to be having low porosity results, even if you really do not have low porosity. So if so many people are wrongfully diagnosing their porosities and they are somehow doing a routine of a porosity that they think they have but they really do not have, and that routine is working for them, so please tell me how porosity is so important. The emphasis we are now placing on porosity is uncalled for. You can take really good care of your hair without knowing your porosity. Our ancestors did it. Our ancestors did not know anything about porosities, and they did an amazing job in taking good care of their hair without knowing their porosity. So I feel like the recent hype about porosity is unnecessary. I just feel like we are just going round and round and round in circles, and just someone just sits down in his or her room and just creates this new trend or this new hype, and then other people start to recreate articles and videos on it, and before you know it, there is this so much unnecessary hype about it and everyone is going crazy. Another rule in natural hair community that I feel is uncalled for is the rule where they say that natural hair, particularly kinky coily, like if you have fussy hair, you should wash your hair in sections, else tangles. Like when people see that I do not wash my hair in sections, they're like, oh my god, you don't wash your hair in sections. If I do not wash my hair in sections, oh my god, it tangles. Like I used to be one of you people. Like I used to preach wash your hair in sections, and let me tell you what that resulted. It made me start going bald around the center of my head. Like because you're always parting your hair down the middle. Most times, most people wash their hair in sections of 2 or 4s. If you're one of the people that used to watch my videos, then you know that like from 2017 to up to like last year 2019, I used to wash my hair in sections. I first started washing my hair in sections of 4, and then I moved to washing my hair in sections of 2. So up until like I think mid last year was when I stopped washing my hair in sections. If you watch my videos, you see that. So it's not something, I'm not just speaking on something that, oh, I've been on the fence or like I've not really been a part of, so I'm just looking from away and now I'm condemning people. But I'll tell you, you really do not have to wash your hair in sections to prevent tangles. It's not the end of the world if you wash all your hair at once. It's not like if you wash your hair all at once, it's going to form tangles. Like that is a myth, and that is not 100% true. So back to why I stopped washing my hair in sections. So I used to wash my hair in sections for the longest time, and I noticed that my hair started to part naturally in the middle. Like it started to fall flat naturally down the middle because I was always parting my hair down the center of my head. So I thought that was normal, you know, there was no big deal. So maybe my hair naturally has the shape of a center part. So I didn't see any big deal about it until one day, I think it was, I don't know whether it was 2018 or 2019, I put up a picture on my Instagram. I was wearing like space buns. So someone commented on that picture, and the person was like, why is your parting, like why is your center part so wide? That was what the person said. And even though back then I claimed that it was the lighting that made the center parting so wide, just to make myself feel good about myself, just to make myself feel good. But I later went back to analyzing, and then I realized that this is actually true. This parting, like the center part of my head, because I was always parting my hair down the middle, was starting to get really wide and wide. Someone also commented under that picture telling me that I should probably stop wearing my hair in that way all the time, if not I'll go bald. And I rebuked the person. God forbid, that cannot happen to me, you know, all those kind of, I can't really remember the exact words I used, but it was in that somewhere in that line basically. So after a while I started to notice that my hair started to like really break down the middle, because if you're always washing your hair in section, they're always parting your hair down the middle, your hair is always in one particular part all the time, you're going to be putting too much stress and tension on this in the middle of your hair, and it's just a matter of time before it starts to give way. And that's why sometimes we see that we have crown section thinning and balding and things like that, and we blame products, we blame genetics, we blame diet or things like that. Sometimes it's just the fact that you're always washing your hair in sections of 2 or 4, you're always styling your hair in sections of 2 or 4, 99% of the time your hair is parted down the middle, and see, it's just a matter of time before you start to go bald down the middle of your head. Like, it happened to me. Like, even up till now, I had to cut off the hair because I like the whole thing and everything was so annoying, so I had to cut off the hair. So right now the center of my head is actually obviously, like, there's a portion at the center of my head that is obviously shorter than the rest of my hair because I cut it, and also it took a while for me to start to regrow it. So from last year till now, I've seen obvious increase. Like, now if I part my hair down the middle, the parting is not so wide, so my hair is growing back, but it's obviously shorter because I went years and years following that rule of always wash your hair in sections. So I was always parting my hair a certain way, thinking that I was doing my hair good, but in actual sense I was doing damage to my hair. I see that a lot. I see so many people with really long hair. There's nothing wrong with their hair is really long down to their butt, but they have that problem. The middle of their head is so wide, the parting is so wide. It's really because you're always washing your hair in sections. You're always parting your hair down the middle. When you're styling your hair, it's always parting down the middle. It's like you're over manipulating that portion of your hair, and it's just a matter of time before it starts to give way. So washing your hair in sections is not like, oh my god, all good and no bad. It has its disadvantages too. So I used to think that washing my hair in sections, like if I do not wash my hair in sections, now that as my hair got longer, that it will mean tangles. And then that particular day when I realized that my hair was actually balding around the crown area, I decided to, let me just stop washing my hair in sections and see if it will work. And the first day I took the bold step to wash my hair in as a whole, wash and style my hair all together without like parting my hair down the middle. I thought my hair was going to have mad tangles, and you need to, like, I was so shocked when I realized that, like, it did not make any difference. Like, my hair did not tangle any more than it's tangled back then when I used to wash my hair in sections. And it was just like, oh my god, like, starting to think about all the time I wasted washing my hair in sections of 4 or 2. Like, so the next rule I'm going to talk about is the fact that people say that pre-pooing is a must. Like, pre-pooing is compulsory, it's essential. When I tell people that it's not pre-poo, it's like, you mean you do not pre-poo? You have no idea what you're missing. I'm like, oh my god, I know I'm not missing anything because I've tried it before, and I know that, like, I'm not missing anything. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying pre-poo generally for everybody is a waste of time, but for most people, pre-pooing is a total pre-pooing for most people is a complete waste of time. And let me explain it to you. If you're someone that washes your hair once a week, like once every week, and you moisturize your hair maybe once every 2 days, at the end of the week, most times your hair is already like soaked with your products, it's greasy, like there's so much product in your hair, you just really want to go to wash your hair to give your hair a fresh start. You really do not need to pre-poo. Now, for someone who does not wash her hair frequently, who at the end of wash day your hair is already tangled and matted and things like that, so you're pre-pooing such that you want to like detangle your hair first so that your hair is like has less tangles for while you're going into your full wash day, then that may make sense. Personally, I don't see the sense behind people that claim to have low porosity hair pre-pooing. Like, it just does not make sense. Now, I'm not in any way bashing anybody, but just wait, let me explain why I think so. So low porosity hair is known to, like, what's low porosity hair? Low porosity hair is hair that has difficulty absorbing moisture and difficulty releasing moisture. So most likely you already have a problem, like your hair already has problem drinking in water. You know, what is an oil? Oil is a sealant. Just like the experiment I showed you guys now, for just the fact that I applied some oil on my hands before applying spraying some water on it, my hand automatically had some difficulty absorbing in the moisture from the water just because there was some oil on my hands before. So low porosity hair already has difficulty absorbing water. So now you're telling me now that your hair already has problem drinking water. Now you're going to block your hair with more oil before you go ahead to put water in name of washing your hair. Because most times, let's face it, most people wash their hair with moisturizing shampoos that have a lot of oils in it already. So now you're putting more oils on your hair only for you to go to wash your hair with a moisturizing shampoo that has oils on, then you deep condition with a deep conditioner that has oils on, and you started with low porosity hair that already had difficulty drinking water, and now you're putting so much oils on it, and then you ask me why your hair is dry. Of course your hair is going to be dry, because like I don't know why people do not get it. I don't. If there's really such a thing as low porosity hair, and low porosity hair has difficulty absorbing water, then it doesn't make sense for you to pre-poo with an oil to make it more difficult for your hair to absorb moisture before you go into your wash day. I don't know if that makes sense. So personally, if at all anyone should be pre-pooing their hair, it's definitely not someone with low porosity hair. Yes, especially if you're pre-pooing your hair with an oil and you're not using a clarifying shampoo. If it's maybe you're using a really drying shampoo that is really drying and you're trying to reduce the drying effect, maybe maybe that may make some sense. But you're washing your hair with moisturizing shampoo, but your hair already has difficulty drinking water, then you are going to block the little pores of your hair, the little space that your hair has to drink. You're going to block it with some oil. Really? Really? The fourth rule I'm going to talk about is the rule that everyone seems to agree with, and that is that 4C hair cannot wash and go. Hello. There's really no hair type that cannot wash and go. Now if your expectation is that you want to wash and go, you have 4C hair, and then you automatically think that because you have a gel or a custard or whatever, your hair is going to look 3C or 3B or 4A. Auntie, I hate to disappoint you, but that will not happen. Now if your expectations are realistic, of course 4C hair can wash and go. Anybody can wash and go. I really do not think that God will just make a group of people and punish them. Oh, this group of people, if you do not stress, if you do not put in the extra work, if you do not go through pain, your hair will not look good. Your hair will be the source of heart attack for you. Your hair will like the way many people paint 4C hair to be so difficult and so stressful to maintain, so time consuming, so this, so that, until you are the one that is just making your hair care stressful. You are the one that is making your hair care time consuming. You are the one that is making things difficult for yourself. God did not punish anybody by giving any group of people difficult. Everyone's like, techniques may be a little bit different, but there's no such thing as 4C hair cannot wash. If you want to wash your hair and go, just like any other person, you definitely can if you want to. Yes, there may be some techniques that you may have to tweak here and there to keep your hair, like I talked extensively in my last video, was it my last video or 2 videos away, how to prevent tangles and knots when you wear your hair shrunken in a wash and go and stuff. So I'm not going to dwell too much on it. I'll leave the video in the cards for you guys to go and watch. But 4C hair can definitely wash and go. If you try it, you're going to see that it is possible. So let us take that out of the box and just stop deceiving ourselves. 4C hair can wash and go in the real sense of the word. Wash, apply your product and go. Yes, 4C hair can definitely do it. I have done it time and time again. I've seen people with 4C hair do it time and time again. It is possible. If you really want to, it is possible. Now I'm tired of people just giving excuses and excuses. Oh my God, you're so lucky. If I tried the tangles, have you tried it? If you try the first time, it does not work, maybe you're not getting it. Your hair requires some things that you probably haven't gotten a hang of yet. But do not come here and just generalize that 4C hair cannot wash and go, because that's a lie. 4C hair can wash and go. Now will a 4C wash and go look like a 3C wash and go? Definitely not. Just like 3C wash and go will not look like 2C wash and go, because their hair types are totally different. And I feel like we should really stop having unrealistic expectations for our hair. Our hair is great, our hair is beautiful. Shrinkage, your hair can shrink and not tangle. There are ways to go about it. I keep preaching this over and over and over again. You don't need to stress yourself. You stress yourself by choice. It is your choice to stress. If you don't want to stress yourself, there are ways to go about it. Yes, you may not have enough information on that, on how not to stress yourself as a 4C sister on YouTube, but I can tell you that it is possible. it is possible. And if you invest the time to get to know your hair and get to understand your hair and know what it likes, what it does not like, how to master, how to really embrace your hair in its full potential, then I can tell you that it is possible. Shrinkage does not mean tangles. Wash and go does not mean, oh my god, the tangles, all the hair loss and everything. You're not doing it right. The techniques are wrong for your hair, so you have to sit down and through trial and error find what works for you. But I'm telling you guys that it is totally possible. The final myth I'm going to be talking about, I have so many other ones, but I don't want this video to be too long because I feel like I've been talking for a while now. The final myth I'm going to talk about is that people say that fussy hair is the most fragile. Auntie, I really do not know where people come up with all these things from, to be honest. Fussy, there's no such thing as fussy hair is the most fragile. Things that contribute to how fragile your hair is are things like the current state of health of your hair, the texture of your hair, like that's how fine your strands are or how coarse your strands are. The fact that you have a coil type does not automatically mean that your hair is fragile. So people should really stop saying that even though fussy hair really looks thick, it's actually the most fragile on the spectrum. That's a big lie. There's no such thing as fussy hair is the most fragile. 3C, if your hair, generally fine strands are more fragile than coarse strands, generally, no matter the coil pattern. But coil pattern does not automatically mean that your hair is fragile. If it were true, then 2C hair should be more fragile than type 1 hair, but that's not the case. If that's the case, 3C hair should be more fragile than 2A hair, but that's not the case. We don't come here saying, people with 3C hair come to say, oh, curly hair is the most fragile, it's more fragile than straight hair, like, because that's not really true. There's other factors that affect how fragile your hair is, and it's definitely not the coil type. Your coil type does not determine how fragile your hair is. Now, if we are all trying to make our hair straight, of course it's going to be easier for someone with naturally straight hair to get their hair to look silky and straight than for someone who has really tight and really kinky coily hair. So if our end result, we are trying to make our hair straight, I will probably have to put in more, not probably, I will have to put in more work to get my hair to be straight than someone who has straight hair. Now, the more work I have to put into my hair, the more manipulation that will require, and the more manipulation that will require, the higher the potential of me damaging my hair. So most likely, if you're trying to, if your standard of beauty is straight and silky, you are going to have to be putting your hair through more damage to get your hair looking straight and silky than someone who has straight hair. So in that case, it's not necessarily the fact that your hair is more fragile than theirs, but your hair is going through more work and more stress. So the damages that you're going to be putting your hair through will be more higher than that of someone who has straight hair. So it's not like your hair is more fragile, but our end result, I'm farther from my end result than theirs. So it's going to take them less stress, less time, less manipulation to get their hair silky and straight than me, who has really tight, kinky, coily hair. Fussy hair is as strong as any other hair type. If you let your hair be fussy, if you let your hair, bask in its glory of being fussy, if you let your hair, flex in its fussy nature, there's no such thing as fussy hair is the most fragile. So really, let's take that out of our list. So with that, we've come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you have any more myths that you feel that you do not agree with the natural hair community, please drop them down below. I would like to hear what you guys think too. So thank you so much for watching. See you guys in my next video.